Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the Self Mastery Podcast. Today, I have the amazing Alina Ranbu with us. And I've been following her work for some time, and she is doing some amazing things, helping people walk through life. And today, we're going to be talking about change and how, change affects our lives and the different stages of change. So first of all, welcome Alina to this podcast.
Thank you so much, Sotoda. It's a pleasure to be here with you. I'm so grateful for having me. Thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome, and it's such a pleasure to have you and discuss this topic. So, without further ado, change can be hard for so many of us, and all of us experience change. So, in life, in relationships, or even in business. So, and you talk about the five stages of change in your work. Can you walk us through the five stages?
Yes, definitely. I do want to start by saying that the change is a topic that I have been handling for the past 5 years in my work. I have been researching and doing some explorations and studies about how people are dealing with change. Why some people manage to accommodate change easily and why others have troubles and develop different mental disease or illnesses due to the changes that are happening in their lives. So in this research that I have done, I have discovered this framework that is was created by um, um, Prohaska and Di Clemente, that's their name. I wanted to say it correctly. And they are talking about five stages that are mapping our natural progression and progress in life. Everybody goes through these stages. It's a framework, it's a map that you can utilize in order to see where you are, what you need to do, and how to manage the flow of change with more ease. So, going back to this framework that I've said it was created by Clemente, they are talking about the five stages that start with pre-contemplation. That is the first stage, where in this stage, basically what's happening is either you're not aware of the need of the change or you're in denial of it, or maybe you are aware of the things that need to be changed in your life or in yourself, in your personality, in your identity, but you're not ready to act, right? So this is why it's called pre-contemplation. It's stage where you are basically discovering what's lying underneath, what's needed for you, what are your needs, what's happening, what's going on, until you become aware of it, right? So this is a very important stage of the change, because basically what's happening here, the key of this stage is acceptance. The more you accept that change, it's something that's embedded in life. It's something that is there, like the air that you breathe on a daily basis. Change is there, right? The more you accept that you need to go through this process of change. And if you look back at your life, like if you would still have your beliefs that you had when you were 20, you might not be adequate for your life stage right now. So change was needed, and you went through the process. So the more you accept that change is something that is there for us to help us evolve, progress, um, the more you will embrace it, the more you will um, renounce the resistance that comes with the change, right? So basically, in this key of acceptance, what you need to know and to remember every day of your life is that everything is temporarily. All the bad situations are not going to be there for your entire life. They are going to change. But also the good times, there are cycles in life, right? There are ups and downs, and the more that you accept this and the more you stop fighting it, the easier it will be. Yeah. So this is the first stage in pre-contemplation. The second stage would be like contemplation, where you're aware of the need for change. Maybe you know what needs to change or you want to change in your life. Maybe you have outgrown some situations, some relations, or something that's not suited for you anymore or doesn't serve you or isn't aligned with who you are, right? And in this stage, you basically seek to understand and motivate yourself into going into this transformation, into this change, right? So the understanding and the motivations are keys here. And the key in this stage would be clarity. The more you are clear and on what motivates you, what drives you, where do you want to go in your life, in your business, right? The more clear you are with understanding what are your needs, what are your situation, your circumstances in your life at this point, the clearer you will be in weighing the pros and cons for that change, right? Because in this stage, the more curious you get with what's going on with your life, what you actually have, what are your resources, what is your support network, what is going on with your life, what's not working, the more clear you will be with what you want to create in your life, where you want to go, right? So this is a stage where you contemplate, where you think about it. You see, like, I would want to do that. I would want to start a business, but losing a job that's so warm and secure, it's not maybe the right time. And doing the contemplation would be weighing these pros and cons for you to go actually into the preparation, like going into the next stage would be like, okay, I want to change this. Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? I want to do it. I'm not going to do it. Am I motivated enough to do it? Like, what is my drive to do that? Right? So when you are clear in this stage and you're curious in discovering yourself, like what's the inner fuel that you're gonna go through this change, what's gonna happen with you, the more it's gonna be easier in the next stages. The third stage is the most important, as I see it. It's the preparation stage, right? Where you prepare, you actually decide that you want to start a business or have a child or go in or out of a relationship, or I don't know, hire somebody in your company or do whatever is the change, maybe change your look. It doesn't have to be a big change because we are talking about all changes all together, right? So you decided what needs to be changed. You understood that you need to do it, you want to do it, right? It's the right thing to do. So you start preparing. So this is the most important stage because this is where most of the people from my research, as I did it before, and I said that I documented on this, fail. Because in lack of a good preparation, they put themselves up either for fail, either for lack of motivation and fulfilling their desired dream, and they don't go into the next stages or get um, self-sabotage on the way to getting their dreams, their goals, right? So this is the stage where you actually build your foundation for change, like putting the rock solids for that change. It's like building a house where you have the foundation. In order to prepare for that stage, it's like having a kid, right? You need to prepare for that stage of your life. A lot of things will change. You will change, your family will change, everything will, your schedule, everything is going to change. It's not just about daydreaming of having a child, right? Because when you go into that reality, the child is not like with the return policy, like when you're buying something off the internet, you cannot return it. You have to deal with it. So this is why I said that you prepare yourself for success or you prepare yourself for a big fail. This is why this important stage is so, so, so important. And this is what I want people to understand, the listeners. The more you prepare, the better you will, not the more, the better you prepare, the better you will be able to be resilient, to encounter any obstacles, any blocks, any setbacks, and keep your fuel, your motivation to keep going, right? So regarding this stage, I want to keep it as short as possible. So the most important thing, what's happening in this preparation stage, and it's important for people to understand this, that there's nothing wrong with them. When we are going into a preparation phase, what's happening is like we are going into thinking, right? And we can go setting up our goals that can be fantasies, like daydreaming about having something, doing something, right? And it's not anchored in reality, it's just a fantasy. And it becomes a fantasy when you actually are not seeing the downside of your goal. You know, the downside would be the negative, the things that you need to renounce or to put on hold until you achieve that, right? It's like when you're starting a business, you need to put time in, you need to devote, you need to have commitment, persistence, to be there, to show up, to invest, to, right? You need to do that. But at the same time, if you want to have a little child at home and you that little child needs you, you need to be there for the child. So from starting your business and taking care of your child, guess which is a priority? The child, of course, right? So you can dream about it, but you need to have an objective thinking when preparing. Maybe it's not the right time. Maybe you need to bring some more resources in order to follow that goal. And what's happening here when you go into the fantasy, and it's okay to daydream, but what's happening in the fantasy is that a part of our brain, which is called amygdala, which is the part of the brain that takes care of our emotional and survival mode, is coming back, and it pushes you, like it brings the fear, right? Because you need to see the downside as well, because you're just seeing the positive side of the change and you're not seeing the negatives. It's not about the positive and the negatives, but in a spectrum where you need to have balance and harmony in order to move forward, because you cannot walk only stepping on one foot, right? You need both of them. And the truth is, then going into changes, there are going to be obstacles, there are going to be setbacks. It can be overwhelming. The better you prepare, this is what I said, the better you prepare, the better you will be able to move past the obstacles and to get to where you want to go, right? So amygdala is the one that comes and puts you into balance where you're out of balance in order to prepare better. But what happens is people go into that fear, right? Oh, I'm not gonna make it. I'm fear. I have a fear of success, of failing, and they go from the positives to the negatives. And some of them don't go to the next stage. Some of them might get to the next stage, but have a plan that is not quite equipped for the desired outcome of the change, right? So the key here is to look also at the positives, your gains, your benefits of that change, what's going to happen to you, to your life, to your business, right? In doing that change, but also the negative. What is it that you're going to put aside for a moment in order to fulfill that? You only have 24 hours a day, right? You can have it all, and I do believe you can have it all, but I know for sure that you cannot have it all at the same time, right? So this is why I think that this stage is really important. The better you prepare, the more equipped and resilient you will be to get to where you want to go. The next stage will be going into action. if you prepared, you have an action plan, you have a vision, you have an outcome that you want to get to, right? And the clearer you are in the preparation stage, you know all the steps, what you need to do, what are your resources, how you're going to do it, when you're going to do it. People don't put a time on preparation, that I'm going to do that when, someday,
Mm,
tomorrow, someday in the future, right? So the preparation stage needs to have also timelines,
mm,
like how much it's going to take me to do that. And sometimes this stage is going to be the longest, you
mm,
know. If you want to prepare, it's like going to a marathon or doing something that challenges you physically, mentally, emotionally. You need to prepare all aspects of yourself, you
mm.
know. And doing that, it's okay for you to take time to prepare, because you're preparing for your life,
Yeah.
for your grand vision, right? And when you are prepared, you know how to act in order to not to react.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because we usually react to what's happening outside, to the environment, to the circumstances, to what's going on. And reaction is actually a response that comes from the unconscious mind. It's
Mm,
not something that's conscious. It will it will be a setback if you don't know how to act. And acting in the action plan is that vision step by step that you created for yourself. Of course, the action plan will be adjusted as you go along, but you need that action,
mm-hmm.
that first steps, first step, first small step. And as you do it consistently, here is perseverance. This is the key: consistency in showing up and doing the action of your change, the things that you want to do, no matter the change.
Mm-hmm.
It's even having a family, business, or losing weight, or whatever is it.
Mm-hmm.
Like doing it consistently as much as you can every day, doing it, right? And the fifth stage of this plan would be maintenance, like normalizing the change, like taking this consistent action. And in this process, you need to see what's working for you and what's not working for you. Yeah, like you cannot go blindsided into an action plan that's not working. If the feedback of life it's showing you it's not the right way, you
Mm,
need to drop it. You need to change it again,
mm,
right? And you start over, preparing and changing, readjusting. And this is why change is such a big topic and such an important topic, because if you look back at your life, whomever is it that you are, you've gone through different changes: changes of your body, changes of your thinking, changes of your looks, of your self image. You've gone through so many changes.
mm,
It's something that is embedded in each and every one of us.
mm,
Look at how you adjusted to those changes. How did you do? What is it that you preferred as action plans, or doing it? How do you want to do it? Do you need support? Do you want to do it on yourself? Like contemplating about the stuff that you changed in your life would be a big help in normalizing, right? The
mm,
change, the new habits, um the new, I don't know, situations, circumstances.
mm,
Yeah. So sometimes we don't go through these changes, as I said, right? Because this is a roadmap, but sometimes, it's like the GPS. Sometimes you go sideways, like you contemplate, and some people go directly into action, right? Without preparation. And then they realize, this is not a good plan. Let's go back and prepare a little bit more. Or sometimes you don't go through pre-contemplation because things happen, right? And you go into preparation or directly into action. This
mm,
is like a plan or a framework for doing the change consciously in the direction that you want to go with your life or with your business or whatever it is that you want to change. Yeah, but reality is different. We have an instrument, a plan, and sometimes we need to adjust to what's happening. But just figuring out where you are, in that situation that you're going through in your life, you can be more clear on what is it that you need to do now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like a routine. This can be considered a routine
Yeah.
for going through change. The more you know the stages, the more you know yourself, the more you know what's working, what's not working, and how to move more rapidly through this change.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there are also situations where change cannot be pushed forward, like situations where change implies grief or loss of somebody or something that was important for you. You cannot push, like move forward through the stages just because you need to change to be another person. You need to go through the process, which
Mm.
is something that you need to honor for yourself. This is about the again, why the preparation stage is so important. You need to take the time to build a solid foundation for the change that's happening in your life.
Mm. Wow, that's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing all of that information. And definitely, I don't think everyone or even many people go through the stages consciously. And it's very interesting and it's very important to do so, of course. And, I can think back of my own experiences, many different changes in my life. But the biggest change for me has been recently, which I've discussed with you before as well. I was doing my business and I had so much to do. Like in my business, I love my business and I get so excited and I get so passionate about the things that I teach. And I have I have things that I prepare a year in advance. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. So when I got pregnant, all my plans just kind of, disappeared because I couldn't really, do them anymore. I had to change my plan and I had to change my vision for the next year as well. Even pregnancy itself for women, it depends on the woman, of course, it brings up so much physical changes that you just can't function the way you normally did before that. I couldn't anyway. Um, so I had to take so much time off and just for myself and just to take care of my well-being. And when the baby comes, it's a complete change. So I had to kind of leave so many things aside from my business that I wanted to do and say, okay, I have this in my mind, I have this in my vision, I'll do this, but this is not the right time. And I know I will do it, but it's just I had to take some time just for me and for my baby, as much as I wanted to kind of still do as much in my business because I loved it. I love spending time with my daughter as well, but I just couldn't do both. I have, like you said, 24 hours a day. I couldn't do 24 hours with my baby and 24 hours in my business. I really had to think about how much time I really want to spend with each. So yeah, this was a challenge for me actually because I just didn't know. I didn't know. And yeah, I gradually kind of started just, contemplating and planning and preparing and uh, transforming the type of business that I do as well. I do less one-to-one sessions now, and I do kind of more programs. And all the back office stuff in my business, I gave to somebody else to do. So I have like two other people just helping me out. This was such a big shift for me because it was so difficult for me to accept help from people. So, in general, and especially in my business as well. So it was, you know, a big shift for me to let people help me. So I had to hire people to do the work that I loved as well because I love doing like posters and things like that, but I just didn't have the time, so I just had to leave it for someone else to do. So yeah, these stages are so important, and so many of us would love to uh, create changes in our lives, but at the same time, we're so terribly afraid of it. And when the time of change comes, we can panic sometimes. So definitely the preparation stage, as you said, is so important. And I just want to mention that Alina has a free guide and activities on on how to go through these different stages. So that will be available for you to download in the caption. Can you tell us a little bit more about this free resource that you have?
So basically, it's a guide to to go through the process of acknowledging what is, and also the process would be for people to get into objective thinking, like get a clear, sharp mind. What is it that they need or they want to change, right? How do they want to have the end result? And do basically the process um, of building their inner resources and foundation for that change. There are I discuss a little bit about the stages, what they are about. There are some self-reflection questions to help them get clearer on what's going on in their life. And I think that and also meditation in that process, there are a lot of things that people can use in order to find ease with the change. And I think that the most valuable thing in this guidebook would be determining the inner motivation for that change, you
Mhm.
know, because we didn't get to that part, but as it goes, I think it's important to state this here. Like a change is gonna be for the long term, as long as you are invested, as long as you know why you're doing that, why it's important for you to do that. This is the most important thing. The people understanding why it's important for them to change, even if it's about getting out of a bad relationship, even if it's about quitting a job that doesn't fulfill them and starting their business, even if it's like um, taking care of their personal relationship, like finding a soulmate or whatever is it, or taking care of their health. Like understanding why is that important to them will keep the fuel, the
Mm,
necessary fuel inside of them, and they will be able to take inspired actions every day,
mm,
right? Because change is about inspired actions.
mhm,
How do I do this? How do I change that? What's working? What's not working? When is the right time? Am I enthusiastic about this? How am I feeling about that? Right? So as long as you're in tune with the flow, with who you are, with your values, with the life that you want to create, and
mhm,
you don't go into fantasies like just dreaming about it and setting up yourself for disappointments, because like manifesting the soulmate, and you dream about it and you do the list and you do a lot of things and it's not showing up and it's not happening because you haven't done the preparation right.
mm,
You overlook the important stuff. Like if you want to attract a soulmate, every time you list that characteristics that you want in that partner, that you want to attract in your life and have that love life that you desire, of course you need to see the downside, the negatives of that characteristics, right? Because if you're gonna if you want to attract or bring in a soulmate that's attractive, right? It's not going to be attractive just for you. It's going to be attractive for everybody. So that means that maybe a lot of women or men are going to gravitate around him or her,
mm,
right? And if you're a jealous type or possessive type, that wouldn't be something that you want to deal with, right? So
mm,
looking and balancing this and seeing clearly what is it that you actually want. Are you willing to put in the job if it's gonna come with the negative as
mm,
well?
yeah,
Or you might say, I'm not willing to do that.
yeah. Mm-hmm. Um, Definitely, which brings me to the next question that just came to me. Um, how important is emotional intelligence? And you said inspired action, so your intuition, connecting with your intuition and really knowing certain things, um, or maybe just improving your intuition more than before. How important is that in the process of change or just, getting something that we want?
Yeah, emotional intelligence is one thing, intuition is another thing. Yeah, so I'm gonna state both of them. Emotional intelligence is really important. It's essential for living a life that's conscious and that is aligned with who you are. And there are a lot of tools to develop your emotional intelligence. It helps you basically to be in tune with yourself, with what's happening with you, but also to be in tune with what's happening with the outside, with the other people around you, with the environment. So it will help you balance better
Yeah.
with how to function in the world. But intuition is, from my perspective, is more important. Is as important as emotional intelligence. But intuition is something that I have gone through my entire life when it came to change. So I'm not sure how to go without it. I don't know how to function without it. I think everybody has intuition. I think everybody has that inner science, that the mind, the body, the soul, the divine intelligence, whatever is it that you call it, is signing you, like it's signaling you what's going on, what's happening. But if you if your mind is not in tune with your emotions, you will discharge those signals. You
Mm,
will set them aside. And this is why I said the preparation is like an important step to tune in, to go inward, to see how you feel, what are your needs, what are your values for life, what are your priorities. And this is actually listening to your intuition. It's something that is embedded in you, who you are. It's that inner drive for where you're meant to go,
mhm,
right? Because otherwise you're going to go through life like step by step, trying, I don't know, some formulas that a teacher, a mentor gave you, and see it's not right for me, it's not working, then trying another thing, and then trying another thing. This is why, until you figure out that what's inside of you, your intuition, your soul, your um, wise aspect of yourself, is actually guiding you through all of these changes. And if you tune into that intuition, you will see change not as negative. Every disruption in your life, every situation that was perceived as negative is actually there to create more balance, to help you grow, to help you be better, a better version of yourself. But
mhm,
as long as you don't acknowledge that side of you, that um, wiser aspect, that divine order in everything, that's perfection, that
mm,
is here to bring you into that state of balance, into that equilibrium that you need in order to move forward. Imagine a wheel, like the wheel of life. Let's just say that your life is a wheel, and you pour your energy and your um, I don't know, your actions only in your business, and you don't take care of your personal life. At
mm,
one point, something will happen. Something will happen, so it will draw attention to that side. So you will balance it,
mm,
right? So you will take care of it in order to move forward. As I said before, you cannot walk with through life. You can jump with one foot, but you need balance. You need something to make it more smooth,
mm,
right? Like to have the flow. Of course, you can have a ride that's gonna jiggle you and bump you all, a bumpy ride in your life. If you prefer that, it's an option. But I think that everybody wants a smooth ride,
mm,
an easier one. And in easy, it doesn't mean without obstacles or challenges.
mhm,
Yeah, it means that no matter the challenge, no matter the obstacle, you know that you have the inner resources and the support that you need to overcome that.
mm. Yeah, I always say to everyone, really, to my clients and to my family as well. I say if you do the hard work, your life will become easy. If you take the easy road, then your life will become hard. For example, if you, for example, decide to go to the gym, you do the hard in the beginning. It's hard. It's
Mhm.
really hard, but then you'll be healthier. You'll feel better and more energetic. And it's like this with everything, even with the healing of your relationships, learning how to express your emotions and needs and have boundaries in relationships, all of that stuff. When we do the hard work, our relationships will be easier. But if we just don't do the work and take the easy road of not doing it, then relationships are going to be hard. And it's the same with business or any area of our lives. If we don't do the hard work, then it's going to be hard with everything.
Mhm.
So, yes, definitely. Which takes me to the next question. Um, Change is inevitable in life and in business for many of us, for all of us, but many people resist it. How do you personally approach change when it first presents itself?
So one of the things that helped me deal with resistance was to put it into perspective of positive and negative, right? Because it's something, it just helped me shift my perspective and the way I went into the situation. So when you think of the resistance, it can be a positive thing when it helps you to keep you out of danger or negative situations, like resisting it, like I'm not willing to compromise my integrity or do that. Resisting, it's a good thing,
Mm,
right? But if you look at the negative trait of resistance, which is endurance, like, okay, I know that I'm in a bad situation or in a bad relationship, I'm enduring to stay there because I'm fearful of what might happen if I change anything.
mm,
That's really the downside of it, right? So when it comes to resistance, I always look to see like, what's going on? Is it a positive? How is this resistance helping me? Like, why
mm,
is it there? What is it showing me? Like, is it something that I need to let go? I become over attached of something and I'm not willing to move forward, like the endurance, right? Saying in something that no longer serves me. Like, I want you to imagine and the listeners to imagine, like, you have a pair of jeans that you loved, right? And they no longer, you no longer fit into it.
yes.
Yeah? So endurance would be like putting on those jeans and going through some difficult um, emotions and sensations in your body just to fit in that pair of jeans.
Mm,
Or resisting would be not spending money to buy a new pair of jeans, right? Like, and spending, I don't know, something that's taking, I don't have a good example for the negative, but I think that people get the idea of the positive and the negative of the resistance. So basically, when you look, what's that resistance showing me? What is it there to teach me? What am I not seeing?
mm,
If you do that, basically going into the positive and the negative side of the resistance, you'll neutralize it. You will
mm,
be in a clear focus, in a clear thinking, and seeing what's behind it. It's like a wall that's dropping, and you
mm,
can see clearly forward. And then you can decide if it's something that you want to move into or not,
mm,
right? But as long as you're in resistance, any sort of resistance, you are not able to see clearly.
mm, mhm. Um, I could share maybe an example of myself. You can let me know if that's something that's relevant in this conversation. But for example, if I feel resistance, let's say if I want to buy a course, or if I want to hire a coach, or just hire someone to help me with my home to clean the house, or buy something that is pricier than what I normally would spend. Um, what I would do is I would get into hypnosis, like a meditative state, and I would imagine the resistance itself, but then past the resistance, let's say I decided two things, whether I should take the thing or not take the thing. Let's say I choose to take the course. What would my life look like? And I
Mhm.
ask myself, like, what would my life look like if I do this thing? And then I would come back, and then what would my life look like if I don't? With all these examples. And then whichever one I feel better in, I will make that choice regardless of the resistance.
Mhm.
I'll be like, I choose that because I feel that this is the outcome that it's gonna bring me.
Mhm.
Even if it's, I mean, it's right most of the time. I've never experienced anything that is like, it was like it was wrong. This wasn't the right thing. But even if it's like, even if I made a mistake, it's okay. I'll just follow this vision and I'll make this choice and I'll go through the thing. I don't know.
It's a very, very good example, and I think that's very useful. Yeah, it totally applies, and it's about weighing the pros and cons
Mm,
of a situation in a different way. You can do it whatever way it's proper for you, through hypnosis, meditation, or through journaling, whichever is the tool that you would take. And yes, whatever makes you excited is the way to go. The excitement, what it feels good for you.
mm,
And I do want to add something here about resistance, because I think it's very important. Resistance comes when we see things as bad and as good and bad. You know, the duality. It's a
yeah.
good thing and a bad thing. So basically, when we separate those two, like a good thing and a bad thing, usually it comes the resistance,
Mm,
because most people don't want to make mistakes, because this is their system of convictions, their beliefs,
mm,
and they are afraid of making a mistakes due to their childhood or whatever is it that they lived before.
mm,
And what helped me to go from this image of bad and wrong was to imagine that the mistake, the so-called mistake, is actually a lesson. You
mm,
know, it's actually something that I learned through the process of things that I prefer or not prefer. I prefer to spend money on myself or not.
mm,
I prefer to do that or not. It's working for me or not.
mm,
And it's not a mistake, it's a lesson. Sometimes the lesson come with a higher price, but but sometimes, and what happens when you see the mistake as a lesson, it's actually getting you out of guilt,
mm,
which is so amazing. Guilt and shame, which are the end balance of the infatuation, and it brings you guilt and shame. It's the polar of the spectrum of the emotion of infatuation, of pride. And basically, when you're on either of these sides, you will go out of balance.
mm,
Yeah. So when you don't go, and of course, when you're out of balance, your amygdala is signaling you that you go into fear, you go into rejection, you go down the spiral a long way, and it's not helping you. So when you look at the things that you want to do, like, okay, it's not good and bad, it's something that I want to do. I want to take this class, I want to buy that
mm,
because that makes me happy.
yeah.
Yeah, that makes me happy. How can I
Yeah.
feel guilty about something that's making me happy?
Yeah. Yeah. And I really think actually, when we are growing up, we have been made to feel guilty so much and shame as well for the things that we wanted to do, for the things that we enjoyed. And when we buy something that we love, or, for whatever it is that we loved, I have been guilted and shamed for. And for me personally, it's been so powerful just to resolve those things from childhood and be like disconnect myself from the shame and the guilt that they tried to kind of project onto me because I did something that I wanted to do, which wasn't really, it wasn't something that it was bad, it was just something that I wanted to do. Whether it was parents or teachers or just anyone really. So I
Mhm.
think the inner kind of shadow work is important. We don't have to do it forever, but it's important to release those emotional charges from our body. They're actually chemicals. They're chemicals. They're molecular structures. They need to leave the body. But yeah, once that's done, I think it becomes so much easier to kind of process everything.
Mhm. Yeah, I'm so grateful that you brought the shadow work here. Because the thing that I recently discovered, like about change, when nothing else works, like for you to go through that process of change, what will bring the breakthrough is the shadow work.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can do, if you're more advanced in your practices and your inner works, you can go straight to shadow work. It
Mm,
will work wonders. But if you're at the beginning, you can start with small steps. And what I've discovered, like integrated those aspects that were repressed or hidden, or that part of you that was feeling bad. There's something wrong with me for wanting this,
yeah.
for desiring this, or for doing this. And when you own that part of yourself, and it's not wrong anymore, it's not bad anymore, and you love that part of you, that part of yourself that just wanted to do something or to say something or to whatever what happened in your life before, then you will be um, moving forward,
Mm,
more acceptance of who you are, and it will be uh, most definitely less probable that you will be beaten down by obstacles or setbacks in your process of going to where you want to go, because you actually know who you are and you own those parts of yourself, and nothing that anyone can say or point out will hurt you anymore.
mm, yeah.
So that's really empowering. So thank you so much. I didn't think that we will get so deep with the conversation, but definitely shadow work is something that it's part of the change process
Mm,
for you to become whole, to you for you to become who you actually are.
yeah. 100%. I mean, it's been such a big part of my own journey. You know, every time I get stuck on something, I go back within and I check with myself and see what comes up. I release what needs to be released. I embody what needs to be embodied. I integrate it, you know. I do the shadow work myself. If I need support, I look for someone to help me, or, you know, I go and look for guidance within myself to do the next thing that's right for me. So yeah, I mean, this is just become a part of who I am. I
Mhm.
think it's just become something that I do like all the time, and I think it makes you just so much more stronger and more confident to have that with you, a tool to have with you.
Yeah, definitely. This is the normalizing of change, right? It became your habit, your routine. Like, okay, what needs to be done? Like this, we go in, we work it, we solve it, and we move forward. This is
Yeah,
what I mean with the stages. But I'm imagining, like all things, you went through the process of
yeah.
uh, putting these habits as your everyday life, becoming a part of who you are.
You know, and I think that's probably why there's so much change happening in my life so quickly. It's like one after another, like bam, 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 everything. Like I got engaged, I got married, I had a baby, my business, you know, transformed completely. I'm doing so many different things. Like everything is shifting, everything is changing. I moved to my dream apartment in London. Like there's so many things that happen, and I just kind of I have my own way of navigating through things and through experiences and the emotions that come, because even when something beautiful happens, there is still that transition of like emotions happening. Everything is all over the place, so I've had to learn how to process those emotions and be like, you know, yes, this is amazing, but I don't want to even get overwhelmed with the amazing things that happen in my life, you know, and it's just kind of be grounded with everything that happens.
Yeah, definitely. And it's very important that you brought this here, that you need to go and be with your emotions, the negative ones,
Mm,
especially because we tend to reject those. We
mm,
don't attend them, and they keep on showing up in the most inappropriate ways and not at the right moments. So yeah, this is part of the process, and this is how you keep a realistic perspective on how your life is changing, like
Mm,
seeing also the good side of things, like all the good things that are happening, but also acknowledging the messy part. Like there are also moments and it's not that great, and it's
yeah,
okay.
yeah. Yeah, and it's like I've prayed for things, and when it happened, I'm like, oh my God, what do I do with all of this? Until you slowly kind of be like, okay, I can be grounded with this, I can deal with the overwhelm that comes. And then we need tools. We need the tools to deal with the changes in our lives, even when they're amazing, let alone with the difficult changes that happen in our lives, like grief, for example. Of course,
Mm.
it's so necessary to have the tools and the support as well.
Yeah, definitely. Every change that happens like very quickly, even if it's good or bad, it actually needs the time to integrate. Like, imagine we talked about grief and loss, but imagine yourself like becoming billionaire overnight.
Mm.
There's different standards of life.
Yeah.
You need to adjust there. You need to know how to handle it. And you need to have the tools and the instruments to cope with your emotions and with the things that are changing.
Mm.
And of course, changes are happening overnight, definitely. But the more you spend time investing in yourself and taking care of your physical, mental, and emotional, you will be more equipped and more empowered to handle anything that's coming your way.
Mm.
Yeah, because there are things that you can control and there are things that are out of your control.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at the pandemic. It
Mm.
brought so many changes in the world,
Mm.
some good changes, amazing changes,
Yeah.
but also difficult ones. And I do have people that struggled adjusting into the phase of pandemic and afterwards going back to the normal, the new normal, which was not the normal they were used to.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah, and as long as you can see the positive and the negative in the same plate on the same spot,
Mm-hmm.
the more objective you can be, the more clear you can be, the more realistic and grounded.
Mm.
Yeah, it's like not setting yourself up for delusion or for disappointments
Mm.
or suffering.
Yeah. 100%. I really agree with you. And, there was a quote saying that, what was it? I think it was um, mm, pain is inevitable, but suffering is by choice.
Yes.
And I think that's what it means. It's like we all experience pain, that there are things that happen that are painful, and it's okay to
Mhm.
feel pain, to grieve, to feel all the sensations, the emotions. That's fine to process them, to get past them, not to ignore them and pretend that they aren't happening. That's fine. But suffering is a choice. Mm, and I think what this means is we can choose to stay in something, or we can choose to process it and release it and move past it in a way that it doesn't become our identity.
Yes. Yes, that's so, so true. I totally agree with what you're saying. And I do say that to my clients that sufferance is an option. When I work with them, and they're looking like, what
Yeah,
are you talking about? That's
I
not,
don't like
look
it.
at me, how much I'm suffering. Okay, you're suffering now, but you can continue to do that, or you can do something about it. You can change it.
Choose
Yeah,
different. Yeah.
choose differently, do something different, look at the other things. Every time there's a situation of sufferance, people, this is my understanding at this point.
Mm,
So when we go into sufferance, it's because we are only seeing one part of the truth.
mm,
We are only seeing the negatives, the painful side. But people overlook the positives, the benefits, the blessings that the situation brought into their lives. Maybe it's in some situations it's too early to see the blessings because they didn't come into awareness or they didn't come into fruition, and maybe you can look for it and you cannot find it. But if you look deeper and you have um, patience to and the patience and the curiosity to understand how did that situation serve you, in what way, what were the benefits, how did you grow out of it, because there is no situation from which there is no blessing in it. You
Mm,
just to look you just need to look for the blessing. And we were programmed to look for the negative, for the pain, for the sufferance. And as long as you train your brain to look for the blessing, for the positive, the other side, even if it's positive or negative of the situation, you will find that the sufferance dissolves. And it might be the pain, but you move out of it quickly.
yeah, yeah. Uh, this is so powerful. You said, you know, seeing from a different perspective, from a different view, and this is my, I don't know if you're gonna agree with me, but uh, I think psychology and spirituality is so interconnected, and this is what I even teach in my hypnotherapy certification programs. And I tell my clients, you know, it's going to be psychology and spirituality. It's going to be both of them together. It's not just going to be from the mind, it's going to be from the heart. And this is why I think that in psychology, spirituality is so important, the aspect of spirituality where we need to come to a point of seeing our lives and people and situations and everything really from a different perspective, from the eyes of the divine, from
Mhm.
something bigger than ourselves. And I think when we are able to do that, when we get to a stage where we can see this, we can actually do this, our lives completely change. Everything shifts. You're not the same person anymore.
Definitely, definitely. That's so true. And I totally agree. This is what I do in my programs as well. I do inform the people that come to my classes like it's gonna be psycho science and spirituality. We will put it together so it will make much more sense to you.
Yeah.
And yeah, this is basically an ability, I think, to be able to see from the outside, from the inside, from as above and so below.
Mm,
This is having the perspective like standing on a mountaintop and having a clear picture of the view and seeing the details and everything. This
mm.
is what I have. This was the image that I had in mind when you were saying like psychology and spirituality go work together. Definitely,
Yeah, it's
totally agree.
yeah, it's so powerful, and it's kind of like a superpower, isn't it, to have? It's really a superpower, and it's something that's happened. Like whenever it's happened to me, it's like I can breathe again. It's like, oh my God, you don't have to entangle so much with the problems that you have, you know? You can come out of it, see it from a different perspective, and it's like it's not what I thought before, and it's like so freeing to have that, to be able to do
Mhm.
that. So this conversation has been so amazing. It's so powerful and so enlightening for me, activating for me. So I just want to ask you one last question before we finish, about balancing personal and professional changes. So as women, we can often face changes in both our professional lives and businesses. How can we gracefully manage change across the areas without losing balance?
So I think that's the most powerful question of them all, because I think everybody went through different situations where personal and professional aspects were challenged. So, in my opinion, I think that the best way to go with grace through these transitionings is to be completely honest with yourself about your values and priorities in life.
Mm.
So as long as you don't lie to yourself, like if you are a woman that actually her inner desire is to have a family and raise children, but you also have a desire about having your own business, but the desire that you want a family was has been with you since you were a little girl, right? And it's still there. And as you've grown up, you saw the opportunity of having your own business. Which one do you think is better? The family. It's more powerful, not better. More powerful. It's the family. That's something that has been with you all the time.
Mm.
This will come to your attention over and over and over, no matter what. So
Mm.
that will be your number one priority. But if you are a woman that strives to create an impact into the world and create massive positive change into people's consciousness, you will be driven by the inner force of putting your career first. And of course, you want to balance having your personal life as well and having a family, but that comes on secondly, because your emotions and your drives, your desires will be to go to work, to
Mm.
serve, to empower, to bring that. And if you're not honest with yourself, which is more important to you, and you'll align your goals and priorities in this direction, you will have trouble navigating the change and balancing those two aspects. There are women that actually don't want, and they declare, world leaders actually, that they say I don't want children. My
Mm.
mission here and my life's purpose is to serve the world, to empower the people, right? And they have been honest and they have been judged and criticized by the other people for choosing that. And they stood by their own truth. This is who I am. This is what I'm here to do. Yeah, this is my inner desire. So when coming to this, and we do also have the DNA that shouts about being a woman and having children, you know.
Mm.
And I think that balancing this aspect where your DNA craves for having children,
Mm.
it needs to be aligned with what are your possibilities and what are you available to do and to bring into the life of the children that you would come. I've seen so many situations when career women compromise on their personal and they had children, and the children and their family life are struggling because they cannot work together because she wants to go to work and the children are needing her, you
Mm.
know, and they feel guilty because they are not able to provide the love and the support for the children because they don't feel it, and they are wondering what's wrong with me. And this is because they actually weren't completely honest with themselves when starting a family and saying, no, my career is first for the moment.
Mm.
This is where I am right now. This is my priority. This is where I put my energy in, you
Yeah.
know. And when you put your energy, when you're in your priorities and in your values, life and the universe will support you 100%.
Mm.
100%. But if you choose against yourself, you will encounter obstacles and setbacks, and it will be difficult because your energy is going one way and your actions are going another way,
Mm.
right? You've created the imbalance.
Yeah.
Does it make sense?
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
So to sum this answer would be like to balance with grace is like seeing which are your high priority for your life
Mm.
and go with them, aligning your actions with your values, with your priorities. If you know you want to have a family and your personal life is important, that's fine. No matter what you choose, you need to be happy with your choices,
Yeah.
right? So you need to go in the direction that is for you, that is going to sustain you.
Yeah.
Maybe some, and these priorities and these values change, right? They are not set in stone.
Mm-hmm.
And in business as well, you go out with a plan and you course correct it because the market and the clients are giving you feedback and you need to adjust. This is how it's happening with the changes in personal and professional. So as you said before, when you got married and you got pregnant, you needed to readjust your life to set your priorities straight and readjust your schedule, your clients, your life, and take time for what was important for you. So this is what I was saying actually, right? Being honest with what's important and what's your priority in your life. And definitely priorities change. Things happen all of a sudden, and you do need to readjust.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. This is such a powerful conversation, and I'm so grateful and happy for you to be here. Honestly, I've been listening to every word you're saying, and I'm really learning a lot as well. And I think definitely this is something we need to do as women, as human beings, not just women, but we need to choose the things that we really that really matters to us and is our values. And yeah, that's just gonna make it easier for us to be honest with ourselves. And it's not about what the world thinks and people's approval, but what we really desire from within. I think that's gonna make such a big difference when we really realize that it's what we really desire from within is what matters. So that being said, I just wanted to ask you if you have any last messages for our listeners and anyone that's kind of going through difficult changes
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah. When you're going, no matter what you're going, uh, you need to remember one important thing. A problem is never created without minimum a solution. If you haven't found the things that you haven't asked the right questions or you haven't looked in the right direction,
Mm-hmm.
always there is help, there is support, there is resources. And yeah, definitely it's not easy, but having support around and people that can say a good word or encourage you and motivate you or help you in any way is something that is really important for us to navigate through all kinds of changes. So encourage people to find support to create good, great relationships where they can empower themselves and find uh, help when needed or whatever is it, just knowing that there is somebody else by your side and you're not going through the situation alone
Mm-hmm.
is easier no matter what.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also the thing that I started for eternity. Everything is only temporary. The bad weather, the seasons, the changes, the obstacles, the good times. And the more you learn to seize the moment, enjoy the good times, and go through the obstacles as good as you can, the
Mm,
easier it gets. And as you said, Sotora, it's a way of being. It becomes a new identity of who you are,
mm. Yes.
right?
Beautiful. Thank you so much.
And of course, there's one last thing. If there is like mental problems, I think there's a delay in our call. Can you hear
Yeah,
me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Help, professional help, support. There are lines you can call and do reach out for professional support.
Yes,
when you're feeling overwhelmed and you don't have enough resources to go through the challenges through.
yes, definitely. I agree with you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for this beautiful message. And I just want to remind the listeners that the free guide will be linked in the description. So please check it out and see, if this can help you move through your challenges and through the changes that are happening in your life. And I'm sure that you will find value in this resource. So don't forget to check it out. And thank you so much, Alina, for being here. Thank you so much for your energy, your wisdom. Everything that we talked about was just so amazing and incredible. Thank you so much for sharing it with our audience. And to all the listeners, thank you so much for being here and listening. And I'm sending you guys so much love. And I'll see you in the next episode.